Who wrote the Bible? Where does it come from? What does it mean? Is there a group of people historically who are responsible for the Bible and have shaped our faith? What did they teach? And what can we celebrate as one human family about their teachings? This is Stan Matthews, and I'm here to tell you the story of the secret origin, coming to you directly from the land of origins, Greater Ethiopia, the oldest nation in the world. About 150,000 years ago, the rains coming from the Ethiopian highlands began forming the foundation of what is known today as the Nile River. About 7,000 years ago, the Nile River basin finally established its finishing point at the Mediterranean seas. All throughout this period of over 100,000 years, people from the Ethiopian highlands and all of East Africa settled along this highway, this massive river that would bring life, bring culture, bring faith for the people. And the people brought with them their culture, they brought with them their science, their economics, their laws, their morals, and their ethics. Most importantly, they brought their sacred science. They brought their faith. And so these people established the greatest, most storied civilization known to man. That civilization is the Kemetic civilization, what we now call the Egyptian high classic civilization. What are we here for? We're here to hear the voice of a scholar, Dr. Ahmed Osman, reveal what we call the secret origin, the origin of the patriarchs of the Bible, the origin of David, the person who established and reinforced the first global empire. We're here to hear the story of the dreamer, Joseph, the man who told his brothers, one day I would rule, the inheritor of an inheritance directly from Isaac. We're here to find out the secret origin of the man known as Solomon, the man of peace, the man of wisdom, the man of wealth and riches. We're here to find out the origin of a famous relationship he had with a queen of the south that we call Sheba today, but was from the land of Punt, which is present day Somaliland or Eritrea, that whole northern coast of the Horn of Africa. We're here today to learn the secret origin of the lawgiver, Moses, the person who I believe to be the most revolutionary thinker on the concept of the one God, the universal God that ever walked the earth. Here to learn the secret origin of the man called Joshua, his son, the son of Nun, who some believe may have been the example of the messianic leader that would have its full flowering in the first century in a revolutionary leader we now know as Christ. But the role model for the one who would call the people to salvation, stand as a messianic ruler, was Joshua. Dr. Osman's work, The Secret Origin, is a must-have for your library. It's a must-have for everyone's library because it demonstrates that these were historical, real figures And they had an impact on our social lives, our political lives, our economic lives, and our spiritual lives, even today. Get your copy of Secret Origin, but first enjoy what we have prepared for you. Thanks for coming, and enjoy Secret Origin. Good afternoon. This is Stan Matthews, and I welcome all of you to this very special opportunity to hear the words of a master of enlightenment as he unveils for us his thought process over a 50-plus year period to uncover, unravel, and reveal truths about our Bible and about our past that we may not have thought about or may not have dared to understand. I'm with Egyptologist and scholar Dr. Ahmed Osman, who has groundbreaking work that he wants to share with the world, and that he has shared over 5 centuries. And so we start today by asking him, why was it, Dr. Osman, that you thought that we should look at Egypt again and find, as we look at Egypt, the biblical characters coming to life in the personages of Thutmose III, who you regard to be the David of the Bible, Amenhotep III, who you regard to be Solomon of the Bible, Akhenaten, who you regard to be Moses of the Bible, and Tutankhamun, who you regard to be Joshua, or in some cases, maybe even Jesus. So let's start there. Why this body of work? Why look at Egypt again?
Dr. Osman, you have mentioned in your work that there was a foreign wife who Amenhotep III made his principal wife, and leads you to believe to the next character, who was a very important character in the court and in the administration of Amenhotep III. This character we know in the Bible as Joseph. You have identified this character in Egyptian history as Yuya, the Grand Vizier, the master of the chariot. Some would say the prime minister of Amenhotep III. Of what significance does Yuya, or the biblical Joseph, the father-in-law of Amenhotep III, have to his thinking and to his governance of ancient Egypt?
You see, in the Bible, it says, Joseph says when he spoke to his brothers when they came for the second time to buy corn in Egypt, he told them, when he told them, "I am your brother," so they were ashamed that they sold him as a slave, and now he's treating them as helping them and so on. So he said, "It was not you who brought me here, but God who made me father to Pharaoh." Father to Pharaoh is a very rare name in Egyptian. It's an Egyptian title, but a very rare name. We have Holy Father, Eat Neter. Eat is a father, Neter is a holy. Eat Neter is a common priestly title. But his special title, Yuya's special title, Eat Neter en Neptawi, the Holy Father of the Lord of the two lands. And this is exactly the same title that Joseph mentioned to his brothers, according to the biblical story. So, when, as the Bible story relates, when Pharaoh appointed him as one of his ministers, he gave him three objects: his ring, and a golden necklace, and a chariot, a small chariot. In reality, the three objects were found in Yuya's tomb, and obviously they represent symbolize the jobs he was taking. And as we know, although Egyptians used the chariot of war during the 18th dynasty, but it was part of the army. It was not a separate unit in the army. The first time it became a separate unit in the army, according to Alan Schulman, the American Egyptologist, was under Yuya, when he has a title of Deputy of the King for your chariotry. So at that time only alone, the chariots became a separate unit in the army, separate from and we find in the Bible two mentions in the story of Joseph, two mentions of chariots. Once when Jacob and the rest of his family came to Egypt, because it was Pharaoh allowed them to come. So Joseph went with his chariot to meet his family at the borders. This is at Goshen, the area where they settled down in northern Sinai. The second time, when Jacob died in Egypt, because Jacob died in Egypt, and Joseph took the bones of his father and he went to bury him in Canaan. So it is said that Joseph took the whole chariots, with the charioteers, all of them. It means that he was allowed to take he was ruling of the chariots. He was the lieutenant of the chariots. So too many similarities. Now, it might be very strange that you see when Isaac, had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Esau, because he came first, although they were twins, believed that he has a birthright because of his birth, which we don't know what kind of birthright, if there is no inheritance. But Jacob, who believed so much in the birthright, gave him a soup of lentil soup to buy his. Eventually, Joseph believed that his son, the 11th son, Joseph the dreamer, is the one who can, be interested in this idea of the birthright. So he made him this color coat and so on. So when he came to Egypt eventually, and he was, I don't think, Amenhotep III married the daughter of Uya, all right, whom I think to be Joseph, but he had more than 300 women in his harem. He could have made her one. He loved her, he wanted her, he could have made her one of his many wives, but no. What happened with Amenhotep III is he insisted against the wishes of the priesthood that she should be his royal wife, his queen, against all. Why did he do that? I think because, you see, he realized that she was descendant of his grandfather. Through Uya, Joseph, she was descended from Thutmose III, David of the history. She was of the same royal family. So that's why he married her. By marrying the daughter of Joseph, Amenhotep III united the two branches of David's family. The one who of his own ancestor through the Egyptian queen, and the ones from Sarah. The two branches came to be united with him, and so it produced the next generation, which made the whole revolution in our understanding, which is Akhenaten and Tutankhamun. The Amarna, they called the Amarna king.
So Dr. Osman, as we close this part of the Secret Origin series, please share with your audience, with our audience, why you think making David a real historical figure, why making Joseph the dreamer a real historical figure, why making Solomon the wise man a real historical figure, Moses the lawgiver a real historical figure, and Joshua, or the Jesus model, a more historical, understandable figure. How would that promote greater fellowship and understanding in this world of war, misunderstanding, and in many cases, falsehood? How would this work, Secret Origin, foster greater brotherhood, greater alignment, greater fellowship and understanding?
In reality, Stan, I'm not making these characters historical, because if we believe in the stories of the Bible, David made a big empire between they're giving a geographical location and time in history and so on. Jesus appeared as historical, and Moses and so on. So all what I am trying to do, I'm not inventing, I'm not producing something new. I'm just trying to see what is behind the story, what is the real historical events that were told by the Bible in the stories. You see, I believe that our religious beliefs, like our being, really have gone through an evolution. From a period to another period, from an era to another era. And that's why now I believe that our faith, our religion, is going to a new era. And we have to understand it according to this era. For instance, I'm not making it on my own. This is a must. So we have heard a few days ago that Pope Francis of Rome, Rome, about 5 centuries ago, condemned Galileo for death because he said that the earth goes around, that the earth is circle, not flat, and it goes around the sun. He was killed because of that. At the time, it was regarded as a heresy, something against. However, the Pope Francis 2 or 3 days ago said that he believed in the Darwin evolution ideas, and not only that, but he believed also in the Big Bang. He said the creation as it is in the Bible story, is not historical. We cannot take it as historical. This we have to understand it in a different way. So all what I'm doing, you see, in the beginning, when man was a primitive creature, each tribe had its own religion, its own God, you see, and each God, they believed that this God will help the tribe fighting another tribe to get the water or the food or whatever it is. Then, with time, we went through a village structure, a city structure, and a state structure. And each time, God has become, different. Then when we have an empire, Egyptian empire, the Roman Empire, the Islamic Empire, God became universal. However, it became universal within the limits of the empire. The China is not part of it, so it has another God. South Africa, and so on. But now we have come to realize through our, scientific understanding that the whole planet we are living in is one unit, and whatever happens in, environment or weather or whatever it is, does affect all of us. We can die, all of us, or live, all of us. We are one. So now is the time to see that God is a universal God. You can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Jew, you can be a Hindu or whatever it is. But if God has created the world, then this God is one for all of us. Although we come and see it from different views, we have different ideas of God, but it has to be one for all of us. In this case, why should we fight? Why should we? Before my God, will help me to defeat your God. Now, if our God is a universal God, is for all of us, we shouldn't fight. We shouldn't hate each other. We should keep the planet, all the planet. Not only try to protect my land and my country, but also your land and his land and her land. We are now, as the Pope said, we are all descendants of the Darwin evolution, and we all came, as a result, the whole creation came as a result of the Big Bang. We have a one source of our existence, and we have a one planet to live in, all of us. Why should we fight? Why should the Russians fight the war Eastern Europe for no reason? Why should the Chinese and the Americans have a conflict? Why should the Israelis and the Arabs have a common. Why should we do that? Why don't we sit down, all of us, and realize that we are belonging to the same planet, and we have to work together to protect us. You see, in a few hundred years, or maybe 1,000 years, we are working to destroy our planet. We are working to destroy the earth we live in. If we go on like we are doing now, our planet is in danger of complete destruction. So we have the chance now, because of our, look at NASA and the photograph they have for the universe. This is a jump, complete jump in the future. We can see our minor place within this universe. So we have to keep our universe, we have to keep our planet. Otherwise, we would all be destroyed. So I think now is the time to re-understand the mythology. The Greeks and the Romans had the Olymp and the gods fighting and whatever it is. This was at the time the understanding. Now, when with the Torah and the Quran and the Bible and so on, we started to believe that God created Adam and Eve about 600 years. Now we cannot do that. Now we have to rely on our modern scientific understanding, knowledge, to re-understand. The core of the religion is there. The only thing is how we understand it. We have to re-understand. So if they say Moses did so and so and so, Jesus, was Moses a real historical character, or was it a mythology like the gods of the Olymp? If he was a historical, if these characters, biblical characters, were real characters of history, then we should find evidence of them and details of their stories in history. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So I'm bringing people together and going into a new era. We are, whether I do it or not, maybe I'm just a voice crying in the. But at the end of the day, when the Pope Francis of Rome says that this is a great step to the future, I'm just telling you what is happening now according to our modern scientific understanding.
Well, we thank you for more than 50 years of work in this area of trying to further the cause of fellowship, brotherhood, and peace by making historical events more real, to give us a greater understanding of some of the events that we've been told about in sacred science and the holy books, the Indian Bhagavad Gita, the Islamic Quran, the Christian Bible, the Jewish Torah. These are filled with stories, and if you can help us to make these stories more real, and look at the historical events in them and see if we can make the events more real and the characters more real. It doesn't change the stories. It just gives us a deeper insight into them. And so we thank you for this work. I encourage all of those who will see this video to get a copy of Secret Origin now. We are working with several platforms to produce a series and a featured film to foster, again, greater brotherhood, greater understanding, and greater peace. If you like today's content, then make the connection and subscribe to Matthews TV on our YouTube channel so you can continue to get great news about all that's going on in the Secret Origin community and also around the globe in the global Black community, the global brown community. This is Stan Matthews. I'll see you soon. Subscribe now.